Hello again. I thought I'd do a little bonus coverage on dog attacks just to follow up to my previous video. Anytime that I've been attacked by a dog, I've always found that standing my ground was always the best option. So anytime that I tried to run away from a dog, always ended badly. So there was one time, first time that I ever got attacked by a dog, I was on my bicycle. And I don't know how old I was, maybe 12 years old, 10 or 12, somewhere around there. But I'm on my bike and somebody's dog is off leash. It just comes at me, it's in attack mode, and my instinct kicks in, just pedal faster and I'll get away from this dog. Well, I pedaled and I got up to speed as fast as I could, and I was going at a speed where a person wouldn't have caught me, but the dog was able to cover that ground 50, 60 feet, whatever it was, and it covered that ground in the blink of an eye, got over there, bit me on the leg. So trying to flee from a dog is always, running away from a dog, always a bad idea because it's a sign of weakness. It basically identifies you as the prey, and you never want to do that with a dog. So like I said, if it's a trained attack dog, then they're going to come at you no matter what. But if it's an ordinary dog in the city, just a regular dog, this is something where a dog might have second thoughts about attacking a person. If you have, a posture that shows that you are confident and unafraid. And I know it's easier said than done because dogs can be terrifying, especially when you're a kid. Dogs can be, as big or bigger than you are. They can be very terrifying. But if you show that you are unafraid and unfazed by that dog, even as it comes running towards you, you show that you're not giving an inch towards that dog. Sometimes dogs will do almost like a bluff charge or something where they'll run at you and then they'll get to you, and it's almost like they either have second thoughts about attacking, or they get to you and they don't know what they're going to do at that point because you didn't run away. And so another encounter that I had with a dog one time, again, like I said, out for a walk, minding my own business, totally unexpected. I'm just lost in my own thoughts, and I'm walking along, and somebody about 5 or 6 houses down a side street had their dogs out in the front yard. I didn't even go past that house. I wasn't anywhere near it. I was probably 200 feet away from that house. And all I did was I crossed the street. I crossed the intersection. So here's the road that I was walking on. Here was the side street. And way, way up the side street, there was a front yard with 2 dogs that happened to be out in the front yard and off leash. And the owners were there. So the owners were outside as well. So all I did was walked up the street, and I crossed the street, from sidewalk to sidewalk. I went across and kept on going. Never even, I wasn't running. A lot of dogs are triggered by motion, so like fast motion. So a kid on a bicycle, somebody who's jogging or running, that's more likely to stimulate a dog and create an attack, response. I was just walking, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, I heard bark, and I kind of turned, and here's 2 full-size dogs barreling towards me as fast as they could come. And the owners were trying to call them back, and the dogs were just ignoring the owners. And they covered that distance, like I said, so fast, there was nowhere to go. Like, for me to try to get to a fence or a tree or something that I could try to climb up in, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. You're out in wide open space, even when you're in the city. You don't really have protection or obstacles that you can get to, and you don't have the time. Dogs just don't give you the time. So they covered that distance, in a matter of seconds. I had just enough time to basically turn, get into a defensive posture, and when the first dog lunged at me. The first dog jumped up and came at me. I had just enough time to go like this and swat dog off to the side. So I caught it like in the side of the neck, somewhere here. But it came at me, it jumped, and as it jumped up at me, I went like this and just had enough time to smack it, kind of like a half palm, half knife hand, and go like this and take it away. That was all the time that I had. And as soon as I knocked it down, the other dog just kind of stopped and stood there and barked for a few seconds. The other dog looked like it was going to come back at me again, so I prepared to throw like a kick at the dog, and then finally they turned and went back. The owners at that point had shouted 3 or 4 times to try to get the dog to come back, or the dogs to come back, and they finally listened and went back to the owners. But I had only enough time, to see this dog coming out of the corner of my eye. I look over, I see 2 dogs there, and I do this, and that was it. Defensive posture, and done. So there was also a time where I was out walking and I was being followed by a dog. And this was another strange situation. So I'm walking along, I've got a dog following me. And every time I look over my shoulder, it stops momentarily. And then as I keep walking, then it keeps following behind me. And I notice that it's getting closer to me. And then I notice that it tries to nip down and bite at my ankle. So like I'm walking and I could see that it's going for my ankle. So at that point, I finally, turn around and just take an aggressive posture and basically, hey, right? Hey, like get back, right? Type of thing. And, just being loud, being vocal, being aggressive that way, like taking a stand. And, I got a little bark out of the dog. I kind of, like get away from me type of thing, like a little mock kick. And it scurried away, and that was it. I never saw it again. So sometimes you just, you'll always have to stand your ground because you're not going to be able to get away from a dog. Chances are you're not going to have weapons. I mean, the world would be a wonderful place if we all had exactly what we needed whenever we needed it. So, I mean, if you're being attacked by a German Shepherd, wouldn't it be nice to have instant switchblade or something that you could stab the dog with, or have a large club or something that you could hit the dog, or something like a spear or whatever, you could just jab it with a spear or whatever. But we live in the real world, and you don't have that stuff available to you when you need it. So most of the time, 99.9% of the time, you're unarmed, right? You're in the city somewhere, you're walking, you're unarmed, you don't have weapons on you, and you're not expecting to be attacked. And if a dog is going to attack you, you aren't going to have time to run away. And if you do turn and start to bolt, then hey, now you've identified yourself as the prey. And so now that dog is going to come at you from behind, it's going to jump on you, take you down, probably try to go for your neck. You can't see the attack coming at that point, but now you've given that dog all the confidence that it needs to go forward and attack you because you've identified yourself as prey. So you can't run away from a dog, you can't outrun a dog. You have to face them head on. And like I said, if a dog attack happens, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end for the dog if you know what you're doing. So, till next time, thanks.